Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. This is a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. So the most important news and editorial of the day that is relevant for your prelims and mains examination perspective will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with news topic list. Today is 10th of May. The first news is Center defend sedition law in Supreme Court. Second, call for accessibility and affordability of the healthcare. This is what the Minister of Health has to say. Third, Cyclone Asani set to weaken near Odisha coast. Fourth, Andaman and Nicobar to get gas-based power plant. This has raised concern about the environmental protection also. And the last is an editorial, the importance of immigrant. We'll see the detail, the concern, and the roadmap for the government. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before that, if you are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. And just to tell you about a newer app, this is 2.0, which will give you a lot more other facilities like downloads and quizzes. So do check it out. मैंने वीडियो के डिस्क्रिप्शन में लिंक दिए हुए हैं, आप ज़्यादा जानकारी वहाँ से ले सकते हैं. So starting with the first news of the day, that is Center defends sedition law in Supreme Court, something which is relevant for General Studies Paper 2, functions and responsibility of union and states and issues and challenges pertaining to the federal structure of our country. So let's understand this news. Basically, what has recently happened that the center, or you can say the central government, has told Supreme Court that the Supreme Court should not invest time in examining the validity of the sedition law. Sedition law is something which was long debated. Recently, we have seen many people were charged with the sedition law, even some of the students from the Jawaharlal Nehru University, many journalists and all others, medias, NGO people were charged with the sedition charges, right? तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने सुप्रीम कोर्ट को कहा है कि वो इसकी वैलिडिटी के एग्जामिनेशन के लिए और टाइम इन्वेस्ट ना करे बिकॉज सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट इज गोइंग टू रिकंसिडर अ प्रोविजन वेयर इट वुड बी फॉर्मुलेटिंग अ competent forum to look into the validity, the basically the concern that is arising out of the sedition law. So this was a submission which was made in the Supreme Court by the central government. Now the central government has also said that it was of the cognizant of various views that the concern with regards to civil liberties have been committed to protect the sovereignty and integrity of this great nation, that is India. So सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अपने कंसर्न में, अपने पॉइंट्स में, अपने व्यूज में ये बताया है, खास करके सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने ये बताया सुप्रीम कोर्ट को कि दे शुड बी लुकिंग इनटू द मैटर एग्जैक्टली व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम एंड इवन द सेंटर हैज प्रॉमिस्ड द सुप्रीम कोर्ट कि ये एक कंपिटेंट अथॉरिटी और कंपिटेंट फोरम के साथ इसकी पूरी एग्जामिनेशन करेंगे टू नो हाउ थिंग्स कैन बी बेटर, राइट. बट सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इंटरवेन किया है. डेफिनेटली देयर वुड बी सम कंक्लूजन. वी हैव टू वेट टिल फर्दर डेवलपमेंट टेक प्लेस. नाउ नेक्स्ट हियरिंग रखी गई है सुप्रीम कोर्ट की तरफ से. 3 बेंच की जज थी विच वॉज हेडेड बाय द चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया and they would again they have argument on May 10 and the legal question whether the plea changing the colonial law, basically एक बहुत ही पुरानी लॉ है जो कि प्री इंडिपेंडेंस भी यूज की गई है हमारे नेशनल लीडर्स पे भी. So this was referred to the bench and even they have to reconsider the 1962 verdict which was a 5-judge constitution which has given judgment in Kedarnath Singh cases. So in Kedarnath Singh versus the state of Bihar, in which the apex court has upheld the constitutional validity of the sedition law. तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इसको अपहेल्ड किया था. अब इसकी री एग्जामिनेशन की इस जो खास करके जो जजमेंट है उसके लिए वापस से इस बार की कोर्ट ने फिर से पहल की है. So in a written submission to the central government has told Supreme Court that Kedarnath judgment was binding and there was no need to revisit the same. So definitely central government is defending and they don't want Supreme Court intervening in the sedition law. But Supreme Court being the guardian of the constitution, they have all the remedies and all the rights to intervene. Let's see, Supreme Court is going on a parallel way, another way is for the central government. So what can be the next option? We have to wait for the development that take place in this regard. Now सेडिशन 124 की क्या चार्जेस होती हैं, जो सेक्शन है किसके अंदर आती है, सेक्शन 124 है any person commit a crime of sedition or he or she shall bring attempt into the hearted contempt और किसी भी तरह की और डिससेटिस्फैक्शन वो गवर्नमेंट के एस्टैब्लिशमेंट के थ्रू करता है और वो जो रूल्स एंड इवन द रूल ऑफ लॉ अगर वायलेशन होती है पब्लिक ऑर्डर डिस्टॉर्ट होती है देन ही विल बी लाइबल फॉर अ सेडिशन चार्जेस राइट विच इज अंडर सेक्शन 124A. It prescribed the maximum punishment to the life imprisonment. So इसमें life imprisonment तक की provisions हैं. So these are some of the factual information that you can note for your upcoming prelims examination. Now some infograph related to this. So what the apex court has said in this regard. So the government has been scrapping many absolute law and said that we do not want what are we are not looking in this law. Continuation of this law is a serious threat to liberty. लिबर्टी के लिए आज़ादी के लिए एक इंडिविजुअल राइट्स के लिए काफ़ी ज़्यादा खतरा है ऐसा सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अपने पहले जजमेंट में भी कहा हुआ. Now the enormous power of the misuse of this section can compared with the carpenter with a saw. He said the Supreme Court has categorically said that instead of cutting a tree, he cuts the entire forest. And there's no dispute. You can quote this line which was given by the Supreme Court. आप एग्जाम्स में इसको कोट भी कर सकते हैं. Now, there's no dispute that this colonial law was used by the British to suppress the freedom, and even it was used in Mahatma Gandhi during the independence years, right? तो बहुत सारे हमारे उस टाइम पे जो इंडिपेंडेंस से पहले के लीडर्स थे उनमें ये भी लॉ यूज की गई है. As I have told you, what is section 124? Penal provision है, life imprisonment तक की जेल हो जा सकती है, and even 3 to life year is a penal provision under this, right? एंड लो कन्विक्शन रेट बताई गई है सेडिशंस को लेकर के बिटवीन 2016 to 2019 द रेट हैज रोजन टू 160% and this is to 93, right? But in 2019 the conviction rate was 3.3% and it just means that 2 out of 93 accused were convicted. Now evolution of this law, sedition law की अगर बात करें किस तरह से इवॉल्व होती है, so sedition is a cognizable, non-bailable and non-compatible offense under section 124 of the IPC. So factually these statement would be important for you. Before independence की अगर बात करें इंट्रोड्यूस की गई थी ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट के द्वारा बाय बेसिकली एट दैट ब्रिटिश काउंसिल. वहाँ पे 1870 was the year when it was introduced, right? And the British ruler used this law to muzzle the demand for the freedom. Even Bal Gangadhar Tilak Gandhiji was convicted under this rules of law. After independence, ये discussion हुई leaders के पास कि we should be dropping the sedition, but sedition is no longer the part of Indian Constitution and it remained in the IPC. Constitution में कोई इसकी provisions नहीं है, but IPC में इसको रखा गया. Now Nehru government bring the first amendment on Article 19(1) that puts reasonable restrictions on the freedom, that is the right to speech. And in 1974, Indira Gandhi government makes sedition 124 a cognizable offense that authorized police to make arrest without a warrant. This is the actual provisions that is a deterrent at this context. Without warrant भी police arrest कर सकती है. These are some of the important pointers that you take must note of it. Presently, and आपको बता दी जो cases है, 2019 data shows sedition cases rose by 25%. And the arrest was 45% over the previous year. However, only 3% people have been convicted. Now, the second news that is called for accessible and affordable healthcare. That is relevant for General Studies Paper 2, issues related to development and management of health. So the Union Health Minister, he was addressing a college inaugural function where he said that the central government is working holistically on the healthcare sector and the more focus of the government at this point is on the preventive medicine. We have seen that during COVID-19, the basic healthcare facilities was lacking in our country and even that called for a serious concern and the basic requirement for the healthcare sector that is essentially should be done both by the center as well as by the state government. So the minister was speaking at the inaugural lectures, basically where he was inaugurating an OPD and IPD at the Harding Medical College, which is there in Delhi. The minister insisted that the responsibility of state government, the central government and the healthcare workers to ensure that health facility is being provided to the people, right? So this is the inaugural speech which was made, but with all its letter and spirit, it should be implemented at the ground so that जो इंडिविजुअल हैं सिटीजन के उनको एक्चुअल में बेनिफिट्स भी मिले. नाउ मूविंग अहेड कॉल फॉर पीपल पार्टिसिपेशन. बेसिकली जो मिनिस्टर हैं यूनियन हेल्थ मिनिस्टर, ये सेड that there should be Jan Bhagidari or people participation. It is very important to implement any action, plan, program, or scheme by the central government. Now, there's need to make health accessible, affordable, and patient friendly. This is what was exactly the statement that was made. And he said that the country has moved away from the token to a total approach. Earlier, the government was not focusing much on the healthcare sector. Now, post COVID, definitely this is a challenge, this is a concern that has been given priority by the government. गोल क्या है गवर्नमेंट की बेसिकली अगर हेल्थ केयर को लेकर के बात करें द गोल ऑफ द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट इज टू वर्क ऑन द हेल्थ केयर सेक्टर emphasizing on the preventive care and priority for the modern treatment facilities. उसके अलावा जो reducing the number of treatment for the poor, जो cost of treatment है actually उसको कम करना so that it is affordable for them, and increasing the number of doctor rapidly. This is with regards to the manpower, not only the doctors but also the assistants, the nurses, the other healthcare worker, the numbers should be increased. Now, कुछ government की important schemes हैं related to this. So the government has launched several schemes. Specifically मैं कुछ ऐसी स्कीम के बारे में आपको बता रहा हूँ जो कि बहुत ही ज़्यादा हेल्पफुल किया है लोगों को. So PM आयुष्मान भारत हेल्थ केयर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर मिशन है अलाइंड, आयुष्मान भारत हेल्थ एंड वेलनेस सेंटर्स, प्रधानमंत्री जन आरोग्य योजना, and National Digital Health Mission. So these are, this particular all scheme has some collaborative schemes also, which schemes को merge भी कर गई government ने. So these are actually helping people in a longer run, and these are the roadmap with all the scheme that is being implemented in the India. Now, talking about the expenditure, health और well-being में जो इस बार की बजट उसमें क्या expenditure रखी गई है. Earlier it was 86,259 crore. Now उसके बाद फिर थोड़ी estimation बढ़ी 94,425, and now the budget total outlay is 2,23,846. So 137% की increase हुई है. But this 133% include both the health and the well-being expenditures, right? Specifically सिर्फ health नहीं, आप ऐसा नहीं assume करना कि इस health में सिर्फ hospitals बनेंगे, wellness centers और health दोनों sector में distributed होंगे amount. Now allocation for the health, specifically health and family welfare कितनी allocate की गई, you can see this is like for EN or reimbursement, this is 83,000. For health and research this is 3,200. और टोटल जो है वो यहाँ पे ये है एंड चेंजेस 0.23%, राइट. वैक्सीनेशन के लिए गवर्नमेंट ने एस्टिमेटेड 5,000 करोड़ रुपीस रखी हुई है. Now, cyclone Asani set to weaken near Odisha coast, something which is important for general studies paper 1, that is important geographical phenomena such as earthquake, tsunami, volcanic activity, and cyclone. So this is a path which you can see here as actually the anticipated way from where it is going to pass in the entire Odisha coast. So according to the IMD, the Asani, the severe cyclone storm in the Bay of Bengal is moving northwestward and which is closer to the Andhra Pradesh coast, and it is expected to move away from the north Bay of Bengal in the next 36 hours. This is what the IMD has to report. And IMD bulletin के मुताबिक, it is very likely that it will move to northwestern directions by Tuesday, and it will reach west central and adjoining North Bay of Bengal in the North Andhra Pradesh and Odisha coast as well. Therefore, it is very likely to recurve in the north or northeasternward and even move towards the north way and the Bay of Bengal and Odisha coast. So I'll give you an infograph to understand किस तरह से cyclonic जो tropical cyclone है वो work करती है. Now, what is cyclonic Asani? The name was actually given by Sri Lanka. It means worth or in a sense. Now, several cyclonic storms, which was there in the name of Asani recently in the western central region and adjoining southwest of the West Bay of Bengal. A tropical cyclone क्या है? एक is intensive circular storms होती है that originate over the warm tropical ocean, and this is characterized by the atmospheric pressures, high wind and heavy rain, right? So this is something which is the main character of a cyclone. Now, how does it actually function? You can see this infograph. जहाँ से origin होती है उसको I कहते हैं, and even this I rises and it widen up, right? You can see this is a low pressure area which is being generated, और उसके बाद subsiding होती है warmer की, descending cool airs, and again this is, you can see the water how cools down. This is the outflow and this is the counter clockwise direction. So warm air basically that is mostly is rising in nature. So this infographic, if you are a geography optional student, make sure अगर आप इस क्वेश्चन को अटेम्प्ट कर रहे हैं, इस तरह के क्वेश्चन को, डायग्राम इज मैंडेटरी. Now, Andaman to get gas-based power plant. This is important for General Studies Paper 3, Conservation, Environmental Pollution, Degradation and EIA. So recently the Union Environment Ministry has approved and exempted the law governing the regulation for coastal zone. जो CZI है उसकी जो rules है उसमें कुछ exemptions दी गई है for the Andaman plants. Now approval by the ministry pave the way for the gas power plant that would be set up in Andaman and Nicobar. क्या है कोस्टल जोन रेगुलेशन? सो द आइसलैंड और जोन रेगुलेशन 2019 लिमिट्स द इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द वनरेबल कोस्टल स्ट्रेच. जो भी वनरेबल कोस्टल स्ट्रेच है, मैं आपको एक मैप दिखाऊंगा आगे, तो आपको क्लियर होगा कि किस तरह से वो एरियाज वनरेबल हैं और उसको लेकर के गवर्नमेंट ने एक एडिक्वेट रूल्स भी बनाए हुए हैं. नाउ द कोस्टल रेगुलेशन रूल हैज बीन कैरेक्टराइज्ड बाय द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट, फॉरेस्ट एंड क्लाइमेट चेंज अंडर द एनवायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट ऑफ 1986. Now CZR की अगर बात करें, CRZ, that is Coastal Zone Regulation, it is made by the Union Environment Ministry to implement and ensure कि सारे स्टेट गवर्नमेंट इसकी पूरी तरह से इम्प्लीमेंटेशन कर रहे हैं by the Coastal Zone Management Authorities. Now अगर बात करें इंस्टॉलेशन ऑफ पावर प्लांट की, अंडमान एंड निकोबार में जो पावर प्लांट स्टैब्लिश हो रही है, this is a 50 megawatt power plant that would be running on a liquefied natural gas, and this is located in the Hope Town in a Port Blair, which would be developed by the National Thermal Power Corporation. Again, something factually important for your prelims examination. Now, following the visit of the NTPC personnel, जो dual fuel power plant की बात की गई है, this will have both diesel and CNG equipment commercialized, and there will be increase in the interest of development because Andaman and Nicobar, जहाँ पे नीति आयोग ने already अपने policy formulation इस तरह की बातें कही हैं. The proposed project were developed by the Greater Andaman region and the southmost region of this island group. So this is with regards to the development, infrastructure development, the power security that would be given to the Andaman. But again, the concern is with regards to the environmental protections. So this is a map which I was talking about. You can see the coastal region of entire India stretches from Gujarat and West Bengal. So these are Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Odisha, right? तो CZR की अगर बात करें, कोस्टल जोन रेगुलेशन के 3 जोन्स होते हैं. फर्स्ट इज जोन 1 विच हैज़ इकोलॉजिकल एंड सेंसिटिव एरियाज. उसके बाद आती है जोन 2 विच हैज़ अर्बन डेवलपमेंट एरियाज अप टू शोर लाइन एंड कोस्ट लाइन. एंड थर्ड इज CRZ3, दैट इज रूरल एंड अर्बन एरिया विच फॉल आउटसाइड द जोन 1 एंड जोन 2, राइट? तो इस तरह से कुछ डिस्ट्रीब्यूशंस की जाती हैं. उसके अलावा जोन 3(1)A है, जोन 3(1)B है, and zone 3(4) है, which is for the aquatic areas up to territorial limit. So these factual point is again important for the prelims. Map आपको पता होना चाहिए so that you get the clarity. अगर मैनग्रोव की बात करें इस एरिया में, this is stretch up to 4,120 square kilometer mangrove, right? Now moving to the editorial of the day, that is the importance of immigrants. This is relevant for General Studies Paper 2. Government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from it, design and implementations. So I'll be simplifying this editorial by 4 important subheads, that is high remittances, India top the remittances list, major concern of the migrant laborers and new immigration policy which has come up recently. और पूरे editorial में बात की गई है immigration from India and what are its concern globally. So अगर मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स की डेटा देखें, देर आर ओवर 13.4 million non-resident Indian which is residing worldwide, right? And of them, 64% are residing in Gulf countries, that is also known as GCC, Gulf Cooperation Council. That has the highest number coming from United Arab Emirates, followed by Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. Now almost 90% of the Indian migrants that is living in the Gulf Cooperation countries आर लो स्किल और सेमी स्किल, बिकॉज जो रियल स्टेट्स की वर्क हैं वो वहाँ पे काफ़ी ज़्यादा है. जो मैनुअल वर्कर्स होते हैं, अनस्किल्ड वर्कर की ज़रूरत है वहाँ काफ़ी ज़्यादा है. द रीज़न बीइंग मेनी पीपल फ्रॉम इंडिया इमिग्रेट टू दैट पर्टिकुलर रीजन, राइट? एंड दिस आर द डेटा दैट इज कमिंग फ्रॉम द इंटरनेशनल लेबर लॉ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ILO की एस्टिमेशंस और रिपोर्ट. Other significant countries of destination of the overseas Indian include United States, United Kingdom, Australia and Canada. Now, high remittances की बात की गई है. Every year, 2.5 billion workers from India move to many parts of the country on employment visa. सिर्फ गल्फ कंट्रीज नहीं और भी कंट्रीज में विजिट होती है. टोटल नंबर ऑलमोस्ट 2.5 मिलियन है पर ईयर के हिसाब से, राइट. बिसाइड दिस इन्वॉल्वमेंट, द नेशनल बिल्डिंग, कहीं ना कहीं ये वर्कर्स जो हैं वो होमलैंड में ना रहते हुए भी अपनी कंट्रीब्यूशन दे रहे हैं हमारे इकोनॉमी की डेवलपमेंट में, राइट. अकॉर्डिंग टू द रिपोर्ट ऑफ द नेशनल स्टैटिकल ऑफिसर्स, जो अर्बन और रूरल हाउस होल्ड की रेमिटेंसेज है, बोथ इंटरनेशनल एंड डोमेस्टिक, हैव अप्रॉक्सीमेट अराउंड 23% and 8%, which is having a better financial capacity in terms of the non-remittances received in the household. Now, इंडिया की रैंक टॉप है इन टर्म्स ऑफ रेमिटेंसेज. वर्ल्ड बैंक ग्रुप के जो डेटाज है, दिस इज द लेटेस्ट डेटा फॉर 21. द एनुअल रेमिटेंसेज फॉर इंडिया इज एस्टिमेटेड अराउंड $87 billion. इवन वी हैव सरपास्ड चाइना. चाइना की सिर्फ $53 billion है, मैक्सिको 53 बिलियन, फिलीपींस 36 और इजिप्ट 33. Now, India transferred almost has seen increase of 4.6% 2020 के comparison में, and remittances in India have substantially higher than the foreign direct investment. तो जो FDI आती है इंडिया में उससे ज़्यादा remittances आते हैं. You can see the gravity of the remittances that are reaching out to India, right? And the flow of the remittances is much less fluctuating than the FDI. और उसकी fluctuations जो हैं वो भी कम है क्योंकि कंसिस्टेंटली जो रेमिटेंसेस के नंबर्स हैं वो मेंटेन्ड है. नाउ गल्फ कंट्रीज या फिर टॉप कंट्रीज की बात करें किस तरह से डेस्टिनेशन की बाइफर्केशन है. सो दीज आर द टॉप 7 डेस्टिनेशन कंट्रीज फॉर द ग्लोबल डायस्पोरा, जहाँ पे सबसे ज़्यादा माइग्रेंट्स हैं. यूएस, जर्मनी, रशिया, अरेबिया, सऊदी अरेबिया, यूके, यूएई एंड कनाडा. टॉप 7 कंट्रीज जहाँ पे ग्लोबल ऑरिजिन के लोग हैं. इंडिया इज अमंग देम द हाईएस्ट, Mexico, Russia, China, Bangladesh, Pakistan and Ukraine. Now, home away from home, where India goes, some of the country which is favorite to India is UAE, US, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Oman, UK and Qatar. Now, the total number of Indian diaspora is this much, right? So, this infograph will give you a clarity to understand the people, the actual immigration that take place from India. Major concern क्या है migrant laborers को लेकर के? Basically, the stakeholders, the other experts have raised concern regarding the safety and well-being of the migrants, जो कि एक top priority होनी चाहिए गवर्नमेंट के लिए. And even government should reduce the informal and undocumented migrations, formalizing all remittances with given a due focus, right? जो recruitment agencies हैं उनके लिए भी regulations की ज़रूरत है ताकि वो जो information technology है, जो सारी protections मिलनी चाहिए उनको, वो उनको मिले adequately. And integrated grievances redressal portal जो कि मदद के नाम से गवर्नमेंट ने रिसेंटली लॉन्च किए 2015 में, उसकी हमें पूरी इम्प्लीमेंटेशंस और पूरे बेनिफिट्स देने लोगों. On approximately 78,000 grievances has been registered so far from Indian migrants and more than 95% of them has been resolved. Now, there's a new immigration bill which call for a holistic regulation of the sector. So, Government of India has proposed a new immigration bill in 21 which aims to integrate the immigration management and streamline the welfare for the immigrant workers. तो इनके स्पेसिफिकली पॉइंट ये थे कि इन लोगों को कैसे बेनिफिट दी जा सके, खास करके वैसे लोग जो बाहर एक्चुअली अपनी वर्क कर रहे हैं, वर्क वीज़ा पे काम कर रहे हैं. द proposed system, or you can say the proposed immigration, modify the system of immigration check requirements or category 4 employing and even notified with the 18 countries. Now, the bill make mandatory for the categories of the worker to register before departure to any country in the world and ensure better protection to them, safeguard them, and even in case of any vulnerabilities that is happening. So, यहाँ पे जो रिकॉर्ड्स मेंटेन की जाती है ताकि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ट्रैक कर सके कि हर एक इंडिविजुअल जो इंडियन ऑरिजिन के हैं वो जिस जगह पे काम करे, वेदर their problem is adequately addressed or not, the database is maintained with the government or not. If any problem arises, then government can intervene on that part. So the proposed Immigration Management Authority will be an overreaching authority that will provide a policy guidance. So this is due. The government would be definitely coming up with the proposed Immigration Management Authority, which will have power to ensure that all the people of Indian origin working in foreign countries or abroad would have their grievances addressed at right point at right time, right? So this is something going to be the game changer. Now, moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday's questions. For first question, the correct option is B. For second question, the correct option is C. Today's MCQ question आपको बताना है मिशन वात्सल्य के बारे में. The mission aims at reducing the infant mortality, and under this mission, the National Human Bank and Lactation Council Center was established. So you have to check for the correct option and let me know. Second is Defense Acquisition Council. The Prime Minister of India is the chairman of this council, and it was formed by the group of minister recommendation on reforming the national security system post Kargil war. To do check it out, which among the following is a correct option. These questions will definitely help you before examination. You need to practice the question, and this would be giving you a sharp edge over the other students. So this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.